Shooting the shiznit, shooting the shiznit. Best little wrestling podcast in the business. Your host BT and all his guests. You'll never know who he'll have next. Shooting the shiznit, shooting the shiznit. Best little wrestling podcast in the business. Shooting the shiznit.
All right, we're live from 304 Studios in Jonesboro, Arkansas. We're live tonight for 5-minute time limit every first Tuesday of the month. This is our 1-year anniversary, episode 990 of STS Pod. And we tonight are doing a special show called The Pop That Started It All. So our guests will come on and they'll talk about, well, what made them get excited about pro wrestling. And my first guest, as always, is my old buddy, Jamie Ward, who beat me in fantasy football this week. And I hate you. Jamie, how the hell are you?
Yeah, well, I've been better. My Phillies went down. My Eagles went down. That should make you happy.
It did. I'm not a
Eagles
Philly.
went down.
Not a baseball guy, but I'm always happy to see anyone in that division lose. So, all right, Jamie, your 5 minutes starts now. Tell us the pop that started it all.
The pop that started it all, one Sunday night when I was like in first or second grade, I knew a little bit about wrestling just from other kids talking, but I'm going to guess it was May of 76. I'm flicking through the channels. This is when we actually had to turn the dials, BT. So I shouldn't say flicking through. Anyway, long story short, here is this big guy with a tombstone, and it says, "Rest in peace, Bruno Sammartino." And it was Stan Hansen doing an interview for the big blow off at Shea Stadium of the cage match between him and Bruno. And so I got real interested then. A couple more months go by, and I wind up seeing the famous Jay Strongbow and Billy White Wolf against the Executioners for the tag team title, and a third Executioner shows up, and that's the way the show ended. And it was a wild outcome. So I'm following it a little bit here or there. You know, if I'm off on Saturdays, or home.
And what age are you? What age are you when you got started?
I'm going to say about age 10.
Okay.
I wasn't, so whatever age you are, and I guess third grade, second grade, I don't know what grade I was in, but it was age 10 or 9 turning 10 when all this went on. And then, you know, I would watch whenever. I found out about Superstar Billy Graham beating Bruno the following April. But what really got me big time was cable TV came into my neighborhood. Unfortunately, for some reason, my side of the street didn't get cable, but my buddy's side of the street did. And I used to go down to his house and watch the Spectrum cards.
That is so funny
Prism.
that they put in cable on the opposite side. They came
of the
back and put it on your side too, but that was hilarious. That's hilarious. 8
months later, I get it on my side.
Oh my God.
And so the first match I watched, the main event of the first show I watched from the Spectrum at my buddy's house is Bruno against Billy Graham, where Bruno closes the door and Billy Graham falls out of the ring. And then from that moment on, I just watched it every single month at my buddy's house until I eventually got it around September of 78. And after that, you know, I just kind of got hooked into it.
Remind me about, you said you watched it there on cable. Was it the Spectrum show from the month before? How did all that work? What did they do?
It was live.
Oh, wow.
Philadelphia Prism was known as Philadelphia Regional In-Home Sports and Movies. So they showed all the Flyers games, all the Phillies games, all the Sixers games, all the boxing matches, a lot of concerts, anything that appeared at the Spectrum, because the owner of Prism owned the sports teams and owned the Spectrum, Ed Snyder.
You would think they wouldn't want to do that because then it would be, it would keep people from coming out to watch it. But man, that's crazy.
It worked. It worked for them because the model was working in MSG with them having the MSG network and HBO. They had the monthly matches on, so the model worked for them until they got up into around the time that Vince Jr. actually took it over, and then they started the tape delay for the next day. They didn't show the matches live, but back then there was no commercials. Everything just went straight through.
Oh wow, and that had to be nice. I mean, being
from
there and it's just like you're watching a live event with no, you're right there at the show.
And then I discovered the midnight version after I got cable of the WOR show, and the Philly version of Championship Wrestling aired a week later. So I was going into school telling all my friends what was going to happen the following week, and I wasn't telling them I was staying up till midnight on Saturday or 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday nights.
I was going to say it was 1 o'clock because you went to my buddy Ronnie Forbes's house. We talked about this on USWA, one of those Patreon shows, but I went to his house and spent the night a lot of times. And Ronnie, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, but it was all because you got cable wrestling. So I was able to watch TBS. And then we stayed up late we watched Memphis Wrestling, TBS, and we stayed up late that night. And one of the first things I remember seeing was the Slaughter Pat Patterson.
Yeah. Well, before I get cut off here, not only did I have to wait 9 months to get cable, but I had to wait until the following 2 years to get TBS. My buddy got TBS 6 months before I did, across the street, because he had a different cable company than I did. So anyway, BT, thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Your time is up.
Oh, buddy, Jamie Ward. Let's bring on. Who we go? How about let's do Duchess?
I wasn't prepared. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. It's been a day, and it's only Tuesday.
I've seen that. I've seen that on Twitter. You see how she's up close up on that microphone.
That's
and
right.
Talking all.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Now you and Stacy is in the green room.
Okay.
And me,
Mm-hmm.
you and Stacy are the only people to ever appear on every episode.
Winners, trifecta.
A 5 minute time limit. I appreciate everything you do. I really do. We had for people that didn't see it on Twitter, me and Duchess had a brainstorming session recently, and we have a great Christmas show coming up.
I can't
everybody's
wait.
got to join us. All right. So tonight we're talking about the pop that started it all. And what it is it's about when you become a wrestling fan. And I know you lapsed. You didn't come back ever. But let's get it started. Here it goes. Here's your 5 minutes to start.
All right. Well, I think the moment captured me. My brother and my dad were really into it. So it was one of those, it was on TV. That's what we watched. So I got kind of caught up into it, and it was, my brother was a huge fan of Andre the Giant. My dad emigrated to America from Iran, so he was a particular fan of the Iron Sheik.
Really?
I think just as the fact that he came from Iran. But we actually we went to a local-ish event, and Iron Sheik was one of the wrestlers there, so my father was very excited about that. But I turned into a big fan of Roddy Piper, because who didn't love Piper's Pit? And of course he graduated to movies, which was phenomenal. And then Hulk Hogan came on board, and that just changed everything. We were just dialed in 100%. But it was a lot of fun to watch it because it was just exciting. It was just fun. And I think it was just, you didn't have to worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, you tuned in, you watched the hour, and then it was a good time, my brother.
I worried about everything. What was going to happen to my favorite wrestler over the weekend?
Well, okay, yeah.
But,
I might have just watched it a little differently, maybe, but my brother was totally 100% a fan. But I think I liked them more by who I had a crush on. So it was, Paul, Mr. Wonderful.
What happened to the timer? It stopped at 2:52. So
It's,
we're gonna
it's
go.
gonna let me talk more then.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go about 2 minutes, and I'm gonna
All
knock you off. So go back to your dad.
Yeah.
You said he's from Iran,
Yeah.
but was that? I do know that's one of the reasons Bruno Sammartino was so popular because of the, ethnic wise. But
Right.
was that something that you saw happen a lot? Where if it was something to do with Iran, he supported those guys.
No, I think it was just more of like, oh, we watch wrestling. He's from Iran. I don't know if it was much deeper than that.
All right.
I'd love to say there was a deep connection. And my father, like, they communicate. It was not at all. I mean, my father's just psyched he saw him locally, but it was a lot of fun. I remember my parents divorced, so we spent a lot of time. There was not a lot of money because divorce, 80s, everybody's broke and all that. But we had a lot of fun watching wrestling, so that was always a good time. So I have fond memories, I think, of that.
You need to go watch the Iron Sheik on Howard Stern show. Look.
Oh, no.
I'm serious. They are just so funny because apparently that was Sheik for the last few years of his life. That's the way he acted for like the last 10 years. But most people that, you talk to him about him, he was always had something. They have a funny story about the Sheik, but I found that interesting. That's in making you, a fan. And I think, and we talked about this on the music podcast, but we're so influenced by whatever our parents, are the people that our peers when we were kids. We were just so, oh my God, they're football fans. See, I started out 77 as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
No, you were raised right.
But
what happened to you now?
All my friends were Cowboy fans.
Ugh,
so
Cowboys.
The next year I was Cowboys fan. So
I'm sorry. To hear
all right. Let's get you off. Let's get you off. Did y'all win this week?
Your time is up.
All right, we're gonna bring Mr. Z on this time. Mr. Z, I'm holding back. I got Stacy off in the green room. Stacy, for some reason, we don't have a lot of people tonight, so you'll get to just come up here and just blah 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 all you want to. Oh, Mr. Z, let me get this timer thing. It'll work every time, and then all of a sudden it won't. I tell you what, I just got somebody I need to bring in because they messaged me. So I'm going to bring them, and then we'll bring you right back, Mr. Z.
Sounds good.
I teased you. All right. We got Josh in here for 5 minutes, and he's going to tell us the pop that started it all. Josh, your 5 minutes starts now.
Man, it's kind of a weird memory, to be honest with you. It's the first wrestling memory that I have where it's like it kind of hooked me and just drew me in and got me, I guess, obsessed would be Joe LeDuc. They replayed I guess it would be 1977, 78, the Blood Oath. They replayed that on TV5. I guess when Joe was back, it would have been like 1985 or 1986. But they played it. He cuts his arm. I'm probably 3-4 years old, and it fucking terrified me. It made me think this guy is a legit psychopath, and they're letting him wrestle. And I'm thinking he's going to kill my uncle. He's got an axe and all this craziness, that a 3-4 year old would think. But
what was Danny doing during was he on Memphis Wrestling, or you knew he was a wrestler, right?
I knew that he had started on Memphis Wrestling because my granny would, kind of tell me brief, how this is where he started or whatever. But like a lot of times he would be gone somewhere else. But in '86, I remember seeing him on TV5 with the star earrings and the color and the hair and stuff coming back. And but yeah, either way, I thought Joe was a legit psychopath and he was going to hurt somebody for real. But yeah, for whatever reason that drew me in, like to where I had to just watch all the time, and he was the number one bad guy in my eyes for a long time. you know.
Yeah, Joe, that whole thing was one of those things. I
But-
think it scared us all.
Yeah, and you know, and two, I don't think like a lot of people understand how important VHS tapes were to people like me and you back in the day. And you know, being a kid, I just had to wait until wrestling came on, and then we got a VCR. Whatever, but
Yeah, lost you there for a second, but
okay.
yeah, getting a VCR was, and I had talked about when we brought Gene on here that, you know, a lot of the stuff that I saw was all about, and we talked about this on one of our Patreon pages, shows also, that I didn't buy pay-per-views. I waited till they came out on VHS or I was tape trading at the time. So
Yeah.
I was tape trading from 86 on until late 91 when I sold my collection. So you had, and it goes back to the, you know, Lawler Flair. I never thought I would see that again because I didn't see it all. Now you can go to YouTube. And the thing with Joe, no matter if you were a Memphis wrestling fan, you quoted that whole interview at school to your friends, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, like, and then if they didn't see it that Saturday, then they thought you were a liar. There's no way they're going to let him go on TV and cut his arm wide open. You're a liar. Like, you know, they already think you're crazy because you're a wrestling fan. Even as a child, they're you know, critical of that. But yeah, and like I said, with the VHS, my uncle gave me a best of the nightmares, and it was kind of like where the Memphis ends, and then he goes to Continental,
Right,
and then
right.
up until about 87. So it would have been Christmas 87, 88. And so I actually had a tape I could watch over and over and over and over again. And again, that made it to where wrestling was in my life even more. You know, to where I got further obsessed, and I saw all these new stars, and you know, it just made me think there is a whole lot more out here that I have no idea about. You know, special times.
Yeah, the only way I knew there was other promotions and what was going on was the aftermags and being able, you know, to from the time in 78 to probably about 86 or 85. It's 86 or 85 when I started getting Observer, but all my information came from the aftermags or came from those magazines that you get on the merch table, the gimmicks table in Memphis. And so I knew there was something out there, but the fun thing was when you started trading and you had something like Memphis Wrestling, you could get anything you wanted, and it was awesome to be able to do that. All right, guys, Josh, your time is up. Get ready, wrestling fans. MCW is bringing you the action like never before. Experience the high-flying moves, the bone-crushing slams, and the rivals that can only be settled inside the square ring. This is family-friendly live professional wrestling at its very best. Don't just hear about it. Be there when the superstars of MCW collide in unforgettable matches you'll talk about for weeks. Tickets are affordable. The action's nonstop, and the excitement is guaranteed. MCW Wrestling, where the future of wrestling happens now. Be there. Going to the Rice Festival in Wiener. Going to the Rice Festival in Wiener. That's right, wrestling at the Rice Festival for the third year in a row for the 49th annual Arkansas Rice Festival. NSR is teaming up with the crew from Texas to bring you one of the most unique cards yet. It's free pro wrestling, live music, rice tasting, full carnival, and much more. 1 p.m. bell time. Be there. I'm going to the Rice Festival at Wiener. Love my mama.
Don't miss Memphis Wrestling Live! Next Sunday, October 12th, don't miss our annual Halloween Spooktacular featuring Vicky Guerrero. Saturday, October 18th, grab your costume and bring the kids to the Memphis Wrestling Trunk or Treat at the Wrestle Center. Sunday, November 2nd, Frankie Kazarian is coming to Memphis Wrestling. All tickets are on sale now. Get yours right now at memphiswrestling.tv.
All right, we're live with Mr. Z. Real quick, I want to say this Friday night. Tony Gunn from OVW, a friend of mine, will be in Osceola on Friday night. Saturday night, there is 2 big shows, one being that the one for Natural Wrestling that we just announced, and also with that commercial, Memphis, it says next Sunday. That's this coming Sunday. So get out there and support our sponsors. We'll appreciate it. I don't know why I said sponsors like that, but by the way, if you're watching us live, I just put the link. There's time for you to jump in if you'd like to jump in. And we're doing special episode tonight, and it's the pop that started all. And what I want to know, 1 year anniversary, is Mr. Z, what got you into wrestling? The person, the event, whatever. And your timer starts now. Hopefully it keeps working the whole time.
I was very young, and it had to been WrestleMania with Hogan and Slaughter. That was the one I remember vividly in the family living room. We had the family over, and not realizing how dirty of a heel Slaughter was then, and just having my dad explain it to me the whole time during that match. I'm just like, I still don't get it, but it caught my attention for sure.
Did that make you a Hogan fan just right off
Yeah, I was a kid, so everyone loved Hogan. So yeah, definitely. That was a big pop for me. I was like, I like that guy. He's the man of the people kind of thing, and it worked.
Yeah, we talked about that on the special episodes we did, the tribute, was that, and I've talked about this on a bunch of podcasts the last year and a half. It's going back, watching Hogan and taking away all the, I guess it wasn't internet wrestling community at the time. It was dirt sheets at the time. Yeah. Take all that away. Take all those criticisms and everything away, and just enjoy the match and try to and then you see how over he was and how he can't wrestle my ass. That's exactly what he was supposed to do.
I tell people all the time, I was like, you said he can't wrestle. You said he can't wrestle. I'm like, go back and watch him and Muta in Japan. That was like my big one. And I'm a diehard Muta fan. I still am.
Oh yeah, me too. But the thing about it is, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. And him, Jerry Lawler, 2 of the biggest baby faces ever. And I tell young guys, I say, take a beating so you can come back. You don't have to get all your shit in. No. Get beat up. All you got to do is sell for X amount of time, and it gets you over big time. So I talked about so then you become a fan, and from that point on, how did it? Because I know you're still a big, huge fan and watch wrestling on a regular basis. You'll send me something every once in a while, like, what the hell are they doing? But yeah, we're talking about AEW.
Tonight, actually.
So what is the where did you go from just watching that, and then did you start getting tapes? And just tell me about all that.
I started. I didn't start getting tapes till probably about a year later. So my dad was starting to work around people that would get these tapes, because you get truck drivers coming in, bringing what they got. All of them had a VCR in their truck, so I mean, they were always watching something. And that's where my dad would get my Japan tapes. That's where I got to watch Foley and his death matches in Japan. Getting to watch Terry Funk do what he did. Getting to know Eddie Guerrero when he had a mask.
Oh
at
yeah.
one
Oh
point.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's where all my love for wrestling grew. And then, of course, Pop's working at the arena down the way at UOP at the Spano Center, and always where they housed a lot of WCW, WWE, shows, the house shows that would take place there. So,
and would he take? I mean, how old are you at that time? And would you get to go? Was you backstage, or was you just getting in for free? How did all that work?
One was getting in for free, but the time that I did go backstage was when my dad was working there, and they had a steel cage match between Yokozuna, Bret Hart, and Bret Hart was fresh off of King of the Ring, and him and Yoko were doing business. And my dad was like, "Hey, I got to go to the office and go grab something." I walked back there with him, not realizing that, where they were at was just right in the locker room areas. And there I see Yoko, Fuchi, and Brett talking business, having a conversation. Wow. I looked at that and I was like, he goes, we need to talk. And I got to get smartened up. That's what happened.
And they were all saying, Kayfabe, get this guy out of here. Because I remember one of the first times I went backstage, that was what Bill Dundee would run behind me about every 3 or 4 minutes and say, Kayfabe, don't say anything, don't say anything. So one of the times I went back when I was doing my website, that just sounded so surreal to me to see all those guys sitting there together. One of the most surreal moments for me was meeting Kamala. And I went into the dressing room and he was putting his makeup on.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been around all kinds of wrestlers. I had Undertaker staying at my house, when he was Mean Mark. But just the idea that this guy was that guy was there and he was who he was, and he talked to me too. So that was, and he's a Southern Mississippi guy. So hey, let me go ahead and play. I love playing this part right here.
Your time is up.
All right, we're here with my old buddy, my best friend, Gene Jackson, the Pop that started it all. Special 1-year anniversary, Gene. We're talking about what sparked your interest, wrestler, angle, TV show, whatever, sparked your interest to get started following pro wrestling. Your 5 minutes starts now.
This is going to be kind of odd. I don't know that I've ever even talked about this on a podcast or anything. I watched wrestling off and on. My dad would holler, "Hey, look, so-and-so's on," or whatever, the Road Warriors or whoever. And so starting in about, I don't know, somewhere in 84, I'd be in and out of the room if wrestling was on. If something caught my eye, I'd watch it, and then I'd leave the room. But the thing that I remember seeing that grabbed me, that after seeing this, I started watching wrestling every single time it was on. If it was on TV, I was in front of it. I was watching Saturday night's Main Event, and when Jake the Snake DDT'd Ricky the Dragon Steamboat on the concrete, I thought he had killed him. I'm 9 years old at that point, and I'm watching. And so Jake's matches was something that I would always come in and watch. My dad go, "Hey, Jake's on here. He's gonna put that snake on somebody," and I come running in there and drop my G.I. Joes or whatever and sit and watch it. And so he's like, "Hey, Jake, fit to wrestle." And I was like, "All right." And I come in there and I liked Ricky Steamboat. And so I was like, "All right, cool, karate guy's fixing to come in here, and he's going to get the snake put on him, So here comes Ricky, and then there comes that short clothesline off the apron. Ricky hits the floor, and then Jake just does what to me was just the unthinkable DDT and him on a concrete floor. And I'm like, "Oh my God, he killed him." And after that, man, I was hooked. I watched it every time it was on. If I knew about it or possibly could get in front of the TV, I was watching wrestling from 86 forward. And
oh, wow.
I've got so many favorites, Lawler and Memphis and Continental and all these different things, but I don't know that I've ever really told before that was kind of the thing that hooked me in and made me a religious watcher because I was like, I can't miss this. You never know what's going to happen to somebody because this poor guy just nearly died. And then you fast forward a year later, then Savage, takes him out with a ring bell. And we think he's not ever here to learn how to talk again, allegedly.
Right.
Big
Yeah.
WrestleMania 3. But yeah, I was from early on, even when I wasn't watching it regularly, I would always come in the room to watch Jake, and I was always amazed at him putting the snake on people and what it was going to do to them. And so but I don't consider myself this huge Jake the Snake fan or anything, and I'm not even a huge Ricky Steamboat. I like both those guys, don't get me wrong. But anytime anybody's like, hey, who's your top wrestlers of all time? And we talked about this on Patreon last week. They weren't either one on my list. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, I don't know if that even is something you ever like registered, because you've been watching wrestling so long. By the time that happened, I'm sure that was just another angle for you, just something else. Like, you didn't eat him on the floor. But for me, that was like, oh my God.
I'm trying to think. So what year was that?
That was 86.
So 86, you're looking at, I was a freshman in college. So yeah, I'd been watching wrestling since for about 7 years at the time, I guess. So I started at 12 years old. And so that angle was one of those tapes that I got traded and got the tape because I didn't, at the time I was still in Steele and Blytheville area. I hadn't moved to Jonesboro yet. And so I was trading tapes to watch those angles. I love that angle. I'm like you. I always was Jake Roberts was on the screen. I was watching it. But I was a huge Ricky Steamboat fan. And I think I've told this once or twice, but Ricky Steamboat had a tape one time that was, it was sold by RF Video. And it was like the third or fourth generation, the one I ended up getting, where he taught psychology. He was doing training, and he was talking about babyface fire and all the hot tags, and I mean the whole 9 yards. And I was amazed. But it's funny that I can credit Steamboat for teaching me wrestling psychology way back before. But Steamboat was one of my favorite. Like I said, we said USWA, if you were listening to that Patreon Hot Mics, Steamboat wasn't on anyone's list, but, he was one of my favorite. I knew he was going to have a good match. Him against Flair, I seen live at the Mid-South Coliseum. Absolutely loved that match and always liked Ricky. Ricky always had great matches. So, great way. I mean, everyone on here tonight is going to have a different story, and that's the fun part about having the anniversary show. Dude, your time is up, and we thank you for joining us. Oh, here we are. There we are. Stacey.
Hello.
And I can hear you, and I'm
good.
You can hear me.
I can.
The pop that started it all, and I've told my story. God, that logo's on my face. You make set over here. I didn't even notice. Look.
I snorted.
The video. I didn't even notice that the whole time.
I mean, it's okay.
Look, I had 5 ibuprofens, a half a gummy, and a Diet Mountain Lightning. I am fired up tonight. Big shout out to Scotty Wentz. Scotty's not going to make it tonight, but he is always here. He sent me a congratulations for the 1 year anniversary. And Stacey, you've always been part of this show. People don't know this, but well, I've said it a couple of times, but you were part of the website when I was doing WrestlingRightOnline.com. You read it every day. We talked about various things almost daily. So I appreciate it. But let's get started. How did you become a wrestling fan? What was the pop that started it all? You got 5 minutes.
Well, I might need more than 5 minutes, but
nope, just 5. I got somebody else in the green room now.
I'm going to take 25. Well, so the pop that started it all is probably 10-ish, and it was whenever my first live event was. It was Moondog Championship Wrestling. That's what it was. And the Moondogs were there. We were going to see one of my dad's friends that he went to high school with. That he became a wrestler. It was the Midnight Cowboy. And then I started watching WWE. Well,
was this in Osceola? Was that in Osceola?
The first show that I went to was in Dixie, Arkansas.
Oh my God! Yes, yeah. I know. I worked in Dixie. Yeah,
at the Dixie Dance Hall. Yes.
Yep.
But then, so on WWF at the time, it was Stone Cold, Triple H, and NWO was huge. And then watched it pretty much all through high school, but I don't remember too terribly much of it until probably early 20s when I started going to the Rector show. And it was Derek King, Stan Lee, John Michael, Flash Flanagan. Those were the people I went to see every week. And whenever it was WWE, it was John Cena, Edge, Mickey James, and like went to Cape Girardeau to a show, and it was my first WWE event, and like that was it. That was whenever I really got hooked on it, was going to my first WWE event, and it was a house show. It was before they were on the road to WrestleMania, and John Cena and Randy Orton were doing their thing, and John Cena was just amazing. You know, he was constantly building up Randy Orton, and like you could see how he tried so hard to get the crowd behind, you know, everybody. John Cena just worked his ass off. And Mickey James was there. That was such a fun thing. And then I took a break from wrestling until it came to it switched over to Netflix. And man, it's been I mean, I've been hooked. It's been amazing. It's been such amazing talent. And you know, whenever you were a kid, you would see these people, and they were grown-ups. But these are now these are my age. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, they're my age, and I'm like, they have accomplished so much, and I'm like, you know, I'm not done that. I can't be a wrestler. I have arthritis in my toe, and that's the only reason why.
That is the only reason. Let's go back. You're talking about going to WWE, was going to Rector and going to those shows. That's where me and you met.
Yeah.
You walked up in a really short black skirt, and I was like, who is that? Good God. And who would know that you turned into my sister? So, and been friends forever. But what was
going on 20 years? Almost
that's
20 years.
Crazy.
No,
there's no way.
Yeah, it was, because that was like 2006, 2007, I think.
2007 is when we put the first episode of Shooting the Shiznit out, because it was on the website. So
yeah. So we're 17, 18. Our friendship is fixing to graduate high school.
Good God.
Yeah.
So when did you, I just did not realize that till just then.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the difference between going to a WWE event and these local shows. You had been to the local shows. By the way, you mentioned Midnight Cowboy. I don't know whatever happened to him. He was a real solid worker.
Yeah,
he was
got
always
older.
Yeah, I knew he got older, but he always felt like he was one of the old veterans. But what was the difference between the local promotions, and did you look down on the local promotion because they weren't as glitzy?
Not at all. It was like you go to the local, you get to know these people, you get to see them week to week, and you develop this respect for their storyline. And then you see it on a bigger scale of what it could be. And when I guess that when you're a little smart to it, you look at it a little differently. But when you're there, you can kind of, man, it's almost like, it's like watching Dustin Starr do his thing. Like if you'll go to watch him MC the Grizzlies game, and you just watch how he works, that is the coolest thing to watch. He is just so methodical, and watching everyone in their spot. I think the background scene was what was,
Well, I had called it the workers' haven, is what I called Rector, because LAW had the best workers ever.
Oh my gosh. Yes, they did.
I mean, and led by Flash Flanagan, who worked everywhere in the business. Just one of the smartest guys I ever met in the business.
And to reel it back in, and Tony Gunn came from Rector. So.
That's right. You seen that Tony Gunn on that commercial?
I did. That's
I
really
think
cool.
I was involved in Tony's first match. We talked about that. He's been on our episode. He's been on the podcast. Go back and listen. But I think we decided it was the first match. So here we go.
Your time is up.
All right. We got Will Radford, Patreon member. Will, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great, BT. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So tonight we are doing the pop that started it all. And this is either the first event you went to, the first wrestler, the first videotape. What got you hooked? And your 5 minutes starts now.
When you asked the question, I don't remember a time I didn't watch wrestling. When was the moment you love your mama? Right?
Yeah, I do. I love my mama.
It was the moment you started loving your mama. It's just always
She
been a part of.
you want me to tell you, when she started taking me to wrestling, I really love my mama. So there you go.
But I don't. It was always on TV. It was always the first wrestlers that I would say I was fans of would be Hulk Hogan and Jerry Lawler. It was, and the first event I went to was in my hometown, Huntington, Tennessee, and at the Carroll County Civic Center. We were walking with my kindergarten class, who my wife was actually in that class, by the way.
Wow.
So kindergarten teacher stops us and points to the flyer, just an FYI, there's going to be wrestling at the Civic Center. Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee are going to be there. And I asked, and Hulk Hogan? She's like, no, Hulk Hogan's not here. And so I didn't really understand the business or anything. And I remember the co-main event, and maybe some of your members could help me out. Bill Dundee was in, I believe, a tag team match. I knew Bill Dundee's face, but I didn't know the person that he was wrestling. He had like kind of Lex Luger length blonde hair, and he wore a gold crown. And I was like, wait, why is he wearing a crown? That's Jerry Lawler's thing. That's not Jerry Lawler. That's not Jerry the King Lawler. He's the king.
We're going to have to ask our USWA. I do a USWA podcast that I'll have to ask them on that one about that.
Yeah, and I think looking back on it, it was almost like the crowd was booing him, the guy in the crowd, and so it mixed me up. When the main event came along, Jerry Lawler came out. Oh, okay, I'm yay, go Lawler! And so,
right.
And so that was my first show that I ever went to, was at the Carroll County Civic Center, and probably if I had to put a pin in the moment that I became a wrestling fan, I would say it was that. That would have been fall of 1986, I believe.
In 86, did you say you were in kindergarten at the time?
I would have been 5, yes.
Oh, God. See, I am old. I had just graduated. I was first year of college in 86. So we started out as a fan right then. You said you can't ever remember not watching wrestling, and then you keep watching wrestling. When did it start? I mean, you started going to the shows on a regular basis. Did you do the tape trading? I don't know if we've talked about this before, but did you get tapes? You go to a video store and rent tapes? Was there anything like that going on?
We did get WWE pay-per-views at the video store, the local video store, and there were the magazines. And back then, like WWE didn't tell you who won the pay-per-views on their TV unless there was a title change and it affected it. Like the Royal Rumble leading up to WrestleMania 6, they never said on air who won, not that I know of. And so you have to wait until the magazine comes out or the
the magazine was about 60. Back then it was about 60 days behind, or at least 45. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that was where I learned about the pay-per-view results, was mainly the magazines. Usually by the time I got the VHS, I knew the result. So
right. I've talked about things I talk about, but I've talked about this on the podcast that technology is always been what's changed wrestling. I mean, it was an arena business, then it went to television, then it went to cable, then it went to, and now the way we watch stuff. I mean, New Japan is one of those shows that I used to have to. I was trading tapes in college and would have to wait. They take 4 weeks of it on one tape usually, and then they'd ship it to me. And so that's 4 weeks plus at least 2 weeks in between that. And then I'd get to sit down a weekend. So about 7 weeks before I saw wrestling, that now I can watch as it's happening in Japan. So it's crazy. Yeah, technology. I mean, it changes the world when it comes to stuff like that. And you know, look at what we're doing here. This is like I'm doing a little small TV show. So that
Exactly.
shows you that everything changes. Well, Will, thanks for joining us
Your
again.
time is up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. It looks like my old buddy. Hey, Ed, how's it going? My buddy Ed is going to be the last guest tonight on the 1 year anniversary. And Ed, you know what we're doing. You even compliment about my commercial. I hate to admit this, but AI wrote that for me. So all you got to do is put things in on ChatGPT and it'll help you out. But tonight we are doing the pop that started it all. So, Ed, I want you to tell us what got you started. What was the first thing? Angle, wrestler, whatever got you going in professional wrestling. And here, your 5 minutes just starts.
First off, happy 1 year. When you mentioned this topic, I was so pumped because I knew your guests are going to have all kind of great stories. It's kind of what it's all about.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, this is the fandom. You know, this is the fandom part of it that we I miss it. I miss because when I was a kid, we went to school and we talked wrestling to our friends, and it's different. And we talked technology just 2 seconds ago, but it's different now. Now I do talk to people online about wrestling. I do talk to people in DMs about wrestling, but to sit around and start talking about this is how I become a fan. This is what it's so fun. That's why I like 5 minute time limit. So I'm going to shut up. I'm going to start your 5 minutes again right now because I was talking. All right. You got 5 minutes, Ed.
Yep. So basically, I'm pretty much similar age to the last guy was on. Will, I'm 46. So he mentioned 1986. So same time period for me. So I'll go back roughly a year earlier. I can't pinpoint it exact, but I can definitely give you a few that definitely hooked me for life and stuck with me. You've probably heard me mention before Flair versus Dusty, just the whole storyline, the feud, 85 Starrcade into the 86 Bash. I was hooked. I mean, you talk about just the whole NWA vibe. But if you talk about one storyline or one match that sold me, it had to be Flair versus Dusty. And they spun so much from that. You can say what you want the next year about the Dusty finishes and all that. That was a part of it. But there was a hot period there for 2 or 3 years. It was just everything they touched was on fire. They were superstars. I mean, yes, I was a WWF guy as well. Okay, I watched everything when I was a young kid. But if you set me in front of a TV, what I would pick, I would have to pick something of that nature more so than WWF for those years.
Did you? So 86, I started getting Observer. And me and you've talked about the Observer and Dave, and I know you've been reading it for a long time. Do you think that after you because you like Dusty Flair matches, but being a Dusty fan and everything, did anything change with your opinion of people like Dusty and Hogan and stuff when you started getting the dirt sheets?
Funny thing, I would say Hogan, as the years grew, I appreciated him a whole lot more. I never disliked him, so I was probably the other way around. People say he can't work. I mean, you asked me just Hogan specifically. I think we've talked on your podcast before. There's some negative things you can say, of course. When you talk about the guy that made wrestling, even to casual fans, Hogan's on a completely different level. I mean, you got Stone Cold, you got Eric. Those guys were fantastic, out of this world. But when you talk about the man, it's pretty tough. Even as a Flair guy saying that, Hogan was your main dude of wrestling, in my opinion. That spun things in the mid '80s, made things gigantic.
And you go back, me and you talked about this during the Hogan episode. You go back, watch The Rock versus Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
Both of us think it's probably the greatest WrestleMania match ever, and I think so too. The reaction is just ungodly with everything. And Flair, Dusty was the same way. I could see how you jumped into it. It's the same thing with me. I jumped in with I had Dundee versus Lawler. I had Lawler versus Joe LeDuc. I had things like that were going on when I had first started watching wrestling. So I had about 8 years I had about 8 years on you. When did you start? So you guys are being younger, you start, Dusty Flair, blah, blah, blah. Did you do any tape trading at the time? Or what was your How'd you evolve?
I was a big magazine guy as far as that goes before tape trading days.
Oh,
so
yes.
into that. So I was a little late to tape trading, but I got absolutely hooked at say mid 90s, late 90s. I wasn't part of the 80s craze, obviously due to age, but
Right.
into my teenage years, early college years, man, I had a slew of tapes, and I would tape trade out to wazoo. I loved that. I missed those days. You had 2 or 3 VCRs going. You had third, fourth, fifth, sixth generation. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of, if you could get something that was kind of the gold standard, whether it was whatever generation, that was a big deal in those times.
It was fun.
Yes.
And it was, you quickly found out who you would get tapes from and who you didn't want to get tapes
Yes.
from, because somebody
Agree.
would say, I've got first generation blah, and they send you a tape and you can barely tell what's going on.
Yes.
It was fun, and I had fun in college. I had a whole room that was paid for. My apartment was paid for with donations. Let me make sure we say that, Ed. Donations
Fair,
from
yes.
from all those tapes that I was giving out to people. So you got magazines. I was big, and we had talked to Bill after about this, that it become the after mags, and everybody, that's the way they looked at it. Then how did you discover the dirt sheets? Then I'm always interested because you read the physical dirt sheet.
Yes. I still
So
love,
that's old school, Ed.
I
You're not
still
supposed
love
to be
to
old
read 'em,
school. You're
so-
supposed to be on that website. So
I was an early internet guy, so that kind of tied me in.
oh, okay.
I've been a Meltzer subscriber for, let's say, 25 years. So I wasn't in the 80s, early 90s like you guys, but I was always reading this stuff, all the sheets and stuff before that. And then once I became a subscriber, even though I was a little bit older, I was hooked and didn't look back.
Yeah. I just, by the way, real quick, I'm going to do that. Your time is up, but I just figured out
Your
this
time
week that it looks
is
like
up.
I will have the internet in my house, and I found this hard to believe, but I have the internet in my house for 25 years. So my first password or username was my first username was Mo Guy, because I was from Missouri. Mo
Okay.
34. I was 34 years old when I got the internet.
Okay.
58 now. So there we go. Ed, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Everybody that is still in the green room, you can stick around for Patreon. I guess we're gonna shoot the shiznit a little bit. Let everybody know. Same bat time, same bat channel. You can't see my face, and I can't knock it off. Here we go. Same bat time, same bat channel on the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there. And as everyone knows, you got to know this by now, I love